Hi, friends and allies. Quynn Red Mountain here. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Dispelling Colonized Mind. And thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, all of that, if you feel so called. All right, so colonized mind. I've been thinking about that for many years. So some of you may know me. I'm what you might call a spirit worker. I help people work on their soul healing and trauma and also inner world work. I've seen various aspects of multidimensional reality in my own life and in others, and the voices in my head continue to prompt me, bring me new pieces about this thing that I've been calling for a while, this colonized mind. Well before this summer, so this is the summer of 2020, COVID, and all of the horror being finally completely displayed to everyone, white people, of the systemic nature of the racism that really is in this culture. So colonized mind has meant to me the aspect of some of these attitudes and beliefs, and there are many, not only, it includes, but not only white supremacy, male supremacy, human supremacy. It certainly involves those. But this energy has been with humans, especially European heritage people, well before anyone traveled in a boat across the waters and began to dominate and spread the sickness of colonization around the world. It started somewhere. It started with actions. It started with infestation or some kind of contracting of the disease that is colonized mind, right? What makes people do this? People are brought up in certain ways of how the world is. That's what culture is. Every culture does it in varying ways, and the ways in which we're taught this is what culture is, or this is what reality is, this is who we are, this is good, this is bad, this is real, this is not. It's part of what we're taught depending on what we grow up in. It happens to everybody. So that's human. That's a human thing. But then there's this thing that was inserted into it. Okay, so now we're in the summer of COVID, a novel virus, right? There have been these experiences before, especially in Europe. People living too close together, people being mean to other than human kin, animals, and things, these viruses, these pathogens come into us, right? That's on a physical level. You just have to even come in proximity of someone else, depending on what kind of pathogen it is, to be infected. So, white supremacy. I am coming to feel, I've been thinking about this a lot, as everyone has, like, what the fuck? What is this? I see it as an extension of what was going on before there was such a thing as whiteness to be exploited and wielded as a weapon. Because for many, many hundreds of years before any of the spreading around the planet happened, it was happening in Europe. Groups of people, one might call them monotheists, took over. Convert or die. You will do this or horrible things will happen to you. And they did. And so then those people align with the oppressors, or they died, or they hid in here, right? All right. So where we're at now with it is it's being profusely displayed around color of skin. So this summer, I felt the calling from within to start putting my approach or my thoughts or the dispelling nature of this sickness that is toxifying everything. It's toxifying the planet. So it's not only that white people can and have an innate right, a supreme right to dominate all the other people on this planet, but not only humans can dominate all other species, can do whatever is desired. That's sickness. And there are different ideas in Native culture about this. You may have heard of the Wetiko, which is Cree Ojibwe, which is like a sickness that's infected in minds of people and creates greed and it's not a good scene. So we could see a bit of that. There's also an idea of a tulpa, Tibet. I think that's where it's at. That one's from. That it's an idea that is fed and fed and fed, and it becomes its own being. Okay, so I'm an animist, right? So that's the work I do, which is that there's a spirit in everything. And I don't want to get into the specific details of that. Well, does a chair have a spirit? That kind of stuff. Let's just say for now that we all share elements of the same things, right? And so whether human or a rock or the wind or an animal or, that we all share the same building blocks. We are not very different from each other. We're made of the same things. And so we are all a part of the sacred web of life. That is the natural way. Now, modern humans have definitely deviated from that wisdom. And where was that definitely profoundly demonstrated was in the colonization process of the world, for the most part, by European people, men, but women too, because none of that would have happened to the degree that it did if it wasn't in some varying ways supported by European women. In a couple months is the time when we will see who ends up going forward as president of what is called the United States, stolen ground, stolen land of the original people who've always lived here, and built by the labor of stolen people from Africa. Call it the United States if you want. It's not very united right now. So earlier in the summer, I felt guided to share some animist ideas. We're all part of the web of life, and we cannot move forward without dealing with this sickness in the structural fabric of this nation. And we must deal with this. We must wean our way through what has been a staple part of this country since its inception in order to move on to what it is that we all need to do, part of which is around climate change and dealing with what is happening on this planet because of colonization, because of this colonized mind about I'm going to own it and I'm going to suck it dry and I'm going to extract it. So these are all very big subjects, and they have been in the works, in the making, for hundreds and hundreds of years. 1,500 years, 2,000 years, 1,000 years. That's what we're talking about for the European, the white mindset. Now, that long ago, it wasn't called white. That's what we call it now. But the mindset, the trauma of becoming the sickness. So I'm not going to go into that anymore right now, because where I need to go with this is the words and realizing just what it is. All right, so I'm an animist. And as an animist, and I am a spirit bridge practitioner, I work in the varying layers of reality. I know, and maybe you know as well, there are non-physical energies that have a will and do things in this world, in our minds, right? Sometimes they're bullies, sometimes they're helpers. There's the spirits of our ancestors, they're the spirits of the plants, the ones who have gone before, human, non-human, all kinds. And so, while there are villains on the human level, and I'm not even going to say any of their names, it is wise to suspend hate towards them and look at what is infusing them with power, what is holding them up, what is giving them the energy to do that. One might say it could be a spirit or a sickness. Is a sickness a spirit? We might look now that we know, or getting to know, or being acquainted with the spirit of COVID. It has an energy. It wants to do what it wants to do. Science folks, Anthony Fauci, is saying we're on virus time. We are not on human time. So now we are being taught about this other than human energy, this being that is real. We can't see it with the naked eye, but it is real, and it is taking us out. It is affecting us. Even if people don't die, they might be wounded in some way for life because of this being. So I decided earlier in the summer that I needed to start working out in this forum some of these thoughts, some of these ideas, some of these messages that have come to me from what I would call the spirit world, or voices in my head, or dreams, or, however it is that you might want to describe it. And so I started out calling this Dispelling Colonized Mind. And then I started feeling self-conscious. In a way like, that's too weird. Are people ready to be thinking of it this way? And in the conversation, the discussion, the issue around white supremacy, the word that's being used is dismantling it. It's the word that's being used right now around white supremacy. Dismantle. So I thought, okay, yeah, that is what we need to do. We need to dismantle colonized mind. And when I mean colonized mind, it's that the ideas, the belief systems, the reactions, the view of the world that has been downloaded into us from culture, white culture. And someone doesn't even have to be white to be downloaded with these ideas. Things like original sin, what is crazy, what is not, what is real, what is not, issues around sexuality, and around family, and around what is important, right? The type of people that are important, the type of things that we need to do, about making money, and all of those greedy things. That's colonized mind. It's expansive. I mean, it's huge. It addresses a time. What is sickness? So I changed the name to Dismantling Colonized Mind. To begin to address colonized mind with white supremacy and how it's acting out right now is not the whole story. Because colonized mind, colonization, the convert or die and whiteness's supreme ideas that have spread across this planet and wreaked havoc all over the world. It was well on its way before these people ever came in contact with African people and got the horrible idea in their mind of what they thought they could do. And they made it so. And so this goes back in Europe and maybe elsewhere, maybe in China. I've heard, like Daniel Quynn, a story of B and Ishmael, talks about that there's the two of the takers and the leavers, and we're operating out of the taker mentality. And that there's Europe and then there's the Asia, right? China. That things rose up like twins, twin brothers, something like that. You should check out the books. They're good. About how we got here. So it's been going on for many, many more generations. So then I was thinking about the word dismantle. And dismantle, you could think of it as like, let's say a brick wall, any kind of wall. You hammer it down, right? You break it apart, you dismantle it. Anyone who has those ideas, it's because it's not logical. How can someone truly say, and most people who feel this way say, oh, I'm not a racist. Okay, fine. You have ideas, you have beliefs, you have the things that you're protecting, law and order and property, right? Dismantling from the outside, you need to change, never works. It might be quelled, it might be forced into submission, but in the hearts of the people, it doesn't go away. We can see that now because it just went underground. And now there's a president who encourages it and it comes right back up. And so, yes, we can dismantle it, but the pieces are the people who hold on to the ideas because they're still holding on to the spirit of these ideas. And so I don't know about you, but I know that I have had many experiences where I have these aha moments. I see things finally where I didn't see them before. Like, oh shit, I didn't see that. Or wow, I see what you mean. That is a dispelling. Whoa, what was I thinking? How could I have not seen that before? That is dispelling. It comes from in here. And that can be inspired. That can be assisted, but it can't be forced. So now I am here again, and I am committed to continuing to ramble on in these meandering paths of white, male, and human supremacy that is, and beyond that, which is what colonized mind really is. We cannot move forward until and unless we figure out the ways to break the spell, to dissolve the spell, to walk away from the spell. So to close for now of this talk of mine, someone that has affected me deeply is by my age, and I'm happy to say this, a young man named Ibram Kendi. What a being. Anti-racism, how to be an anti-racist. and many other books. A wise being, and a kindred spirit of I dealt with cancer, and I don't know where he is in his process. His is more recent than mine, but the wisdom that it seemed to have brought him is the ability then to see how systemic racism is a cancer, metastatic cancer, that it has spread all across our body, of all of us being the body of humans, right? This culture. And the wisdom that I really appreciate is that when one realizes that one has cancer, often the first response is, "What? Me? No, I know I had that, and apparently he has too. I can't have cancer. I'm healthy. I'm a good person. No, it's impossible." And that we could look at ourselves around racism, whether one is a racist or one is acting like a racist. There are some people who are racist. They will not set it down. And there are many other people who don't want to be racist, and yet none of us, right, haven't been taught much else. And so I am coming up with a phrase for that, of like acting like a racist, because then it doesn't stamp the person as a racist that is forever. Racism is by choice and action and thought and deed, right? Quit acting like a racist. It at least gives someone room to make another choice in their actions. So once we realize and accept, shit, I have cancer, or shit, I'm acting like a racist. I have been trained by racists. I have racist thoughts. I am part of a racist system. Then the way to actively disengage and dismantle and dispel that is the aspect of anti-racism. That we need to do the actions and really shift the way that we think, the way that we see the world. We have to expose ourselves to people who aren't like us. We have to see the world from other people's eyes and hearts. And that the process of dismantling, dispelling, and dissolving these beliefs and actions and systems and policies isn't easy, and it's not fun, just like treatment for cancer isn't. But it doesn't mean we don't need to do it, or that we shouldn't do it. We must do it. We must do it. We don't have another option. So just feel yourself right now. Notice in your body, after all of my words, blah, 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 that what sticks with you. And also, what did you want to resist? What did you want to say, no, that makes me uncomfortable, or I don't know about that. Well, that may not be true. That couldn't possibly be me. And instead of resisting and pushing it away and saying it's impossible, what if you just let it sit with you for a while? Just let it be there, as if it's another person, as if it's a spirit. Who are you? I don't like you. Why are you here? These are the types of things that I inspire people to do, not specifically around racism, but around a lot of different types of inner work that I do in my work. And we can apply this to colonized mind. So, if you're still here, thank you for listening, and I'll be back. All right. Take good care. And keep on the lookout for that colonized mind in you and in others, because it is there, and it is real until it's dispelled. You can find out more about me and my work and our Web of Life Animist Church at weboflifeanimist.com. And do subscribe if you aren't subscribed already. Be well.